Banaza is a short and unattractive-looking, ordinary merchant from the world of Ice Sky who has been summoned to another fantasy world. He has no magic or combat abilities, and his stats are abysmal. But what happens when a candidate for underdog heroes gains super cheap abilities after reaching level 2? Banaza is a short and unattractive-looking ordinary merchant from the world of Ice Sky who is summoned to another fantasy world of Ice Sky. The hero's candidates are misfits with no special abilities. While he lived in his home world, his righteousness made those around him worry about his mental health, as they didn't understand why a man who is superior to all half-humans would go to such lengths to help them. Half-humans who are slaves of all humans are not allowed to use any currency in this world, but Banaza still gives his half-human employee a large sum of money for successfully doing the job in question. The half-human, of course, does not take the money, as he knows that he will only get in trouble if the royal guards find out that he took money from humans. Still, Banaza insists on paying him and brings her co-worker Quinn to convince him to take the money. Unlike the others, Quinn knows how kind-hearted and generous Banaza is, so she tells the team of half-men to go and have a nice dinner with the money Banaza offered them. They thank Banaza for giving them such a treat, but the other merchants who have been watching them closely, Banaza call him a hypocrite for pretending to help slaves who are technically forced to work against their will. Banaza realizes how the other traders in town feel about him, but he doesn't let it hurt his feelings and defends his actions, stating that he just wants all members of the species to get along with each other. Suddenly, a miraculous event occurs that causes Banaza to glow with a golden light and teleports him away from where he was, causing his subordinate Quinn to worry about where he disappeared to out of nowhere. It is revealed that Banaza has just received an ice guide from the Ice Sky world to another Ice Sky world to become the 198th candidate for hero of that world. When he enters this world of icy skies, he finds himself surrounded by dozens of mages who welcome him to the magical kingdom of Claret. Upon learning that he has been chosen to be the hero of this world, Banaza is confused, as he is only a merchant who is clearly not worthy to become one. The head mage assures Banaza that he is a hero who must help them in their protracted war against the Dark Lord's army. Before appointing Banaza to one of the hero positions, the chief magician asks one of his maids to bring an evaluation crystal ball to learn about the abilities Banaza possesses. Banaza reluctantly places both hands on the crystal ball, causing it to glow with a white light. Apparently, hero candidates who are summoned to this world usually receive divine blessings from the gods to help them stand out and become one of the strongest of their generation. However, Banaza reveals that he has not given such divine blessings, which horrifies even the maid who brought the crystal ball. Since there has never been such a case of a hero candidate having such an ordinary status, upon hearing this news, all the maids who were responsible for summoning Banaza are also disappointed, as another team of mages who are only a few feet away from them has succeeded in summoning a man with abilities worthy of being the strongest hero in the world. The hero with blonde hair, who was just summoned, is proud of himself because of his great characteristics and belittles Banaza for being an unlucky loser. Either way, because of the legendary hero, Banaza is completely ignored by everyone, making him wonder if someone will send him back to his homeworld or not. No, because he is no longer worthy of being a hero. The king of the magic kingdom thanks the blonde hero for coming to this world and immediately gives him the title of knight, which is the highest title you can get. Meanwhile, Benazza is sulking on the balcony of the royal castle, utterly frustrated that no one treats him well just because he's an ordinary man. Since he has nothing else to do now, he looks around to see if he's really in a different world from his homeworld and sees similarities that make him wonder where he is. Soon after, the kingdom's royal guard threw Benazza out of the castle and sent him to the far end of the kingdom, giving him permission to live in the dangerous forest as he pleased. Benazza, of course, wanted to return to his homeworld, but since the portal used to summon him had closed and could not be used to send him back, he resigned himself to his fate and headed happily towards his next destination. On the way, he tried to make small talk with the carriage driver, but the man-eater refused to talk to him, as he was under strict orders not to tell him anything about the world. Seeing that the man-eater is so subservient to the kingdom, Benazza takes him for a slave and tells him that the world he came from is a very horrible place where humans have turned all other species into their slaves. Lizard Man just bursts out laughing upon hearing of such a vile world and explains that unlike Benazza's world, there is no discrimination between half humans and humans in this world. Now that the Lizard Man has opened up a bit, Benazza asks him again about the forest they're headed to, since he doesn't know anything about it. But the Lizard Man still refuses to talk to him, and he closes the window in front of him. So for the rest of their journey, Benazza just eats, drinks, and sleeps. And after 20 long, lonely days, he reaches his destination, the forest. Before leaving, the Lizard Man gives Benazza a special pouch from another dimension full of money and food that was given to him. He approaches the king and whispers to him the horrifying news that the Dark Lord against whom the kingdom is at war lives somewhere deep in the forest. Benazza thanks the Lizard Man for the warning, but he does not run away as he does not know where he should go. Instead, he redirects his attention to see what items are in the bag and retrieves everything from his inventory by simply placing his hands on top of the bag. The system menu shows that Benazza has gotten basic clothing, a bag with an infinite supply of water, a good amount of food, armor, basic farming tools, a pile of gold coins, and a set of magical house building tools. Benazza pulls out the armor, which is just a cheap sword, and immediately tests its sharpness on the slimes nearby. After killing only 3 slimes, the sword is completely destroyed, leaving Benazza frustrated and feeling cheated. The system menu reappears, notifying Benazza that his rank has been upgraded to level 2, causing all of his abilities to increase to infinity. However, Benazza does not understand what the infinity sign means, so he turns on the voice control of the system, which informs him that he has discovered many magic spells due to his level increase. The system also tells him that it has discovered negative magic spells such as location tracking, luring monsters, and force recovery on the pouch the Lizard Man gave him earlier, which lets him know that the king never wanted him to survive in the forest. Fortunately, the system removes any negative spells that were cast on the pouch, so Benazza doesn't worry about it anymore. He forgets to ask the system about the infinity symbol, which is unfamiliar to him, and heads into the forest in search of a safe place to sleep. But before entering, the system warns him again that the entire forest is heavily contaminated with malicium. a poisonous gaseous substance emitted by demons. However, Bonatshev jokingly asks the system to clear the forest for him, and it does so appropriately, making him realize how dangerous it is. His system menu is incredibly overloaded. The system pops up again, notifying Bonazu that his overall level has increased again, and this time to infinity, as he has indirectly destroyed all the demons living in the forest by clearing it. On the other hand, back at the royal castle, the first princess finds it cruel that hero candidate Bonazu was treated so harshly just because he was not endowed with any superpowers. However, the king argues that it is only fair that a piece of shit like Benazar be sent to his death, since he is good for nothing for their kingdom. The court mage pays the king a visit and tells him that he has found evidence that the forest where Bonazar was sent, the most powerful holy magic in their world, core purification, had just been used, which made the king realize that something was definitely wrong here. Speaking of which, Bonazar's level had only risen from level 2 to an outstanding 367. He wonders why he leveled up so quickly and assumes that everyone else is also leveling up like him, since he still considers himself a normal human. So he turns off the level up notification and asks the system how much magical power he has left after clearing the forest. The system tells him that his magic power has already been replenished, which makes him think that his power only recovered so quickly because that there wasn't much magic to begin with. He needs to increase his power. Still thinking himself a weakling, Benazar casts a glance at the spells he had unlocked, and out of pure curiosity, changes his appearance so that no one in this world would recognize him as a failed hero candidate. Now that he is no longer recognizable, Benazar decides to return to the royal capital and uses his teleportation magic to get back there. Although any other person in the world would realize at this moment that he has been blessed, I am now defeated in this world of the icy sky, not this goon. This goon thinks everyone in this world knows how to use these powerful spells. Anyway, he heads into town, hoping to join a merchant guild to make some money, since he was originally a merchant in his previous world. However, the system advises him to go to the Adventurers Guild instead, so he heads there and registers as Leo, his new name and his new appearance. After completing his registration, Bonatsa, who is now Leo, receives his party of E-ranked adventurers and immediately sets off to complete several adventurer quests. During this time, a little girl from the guild begs all the adventurers to escort her to the forest where the demon army is, so Fleo agrees to take her there, revealing in front of everyone that she has the ability to use teleportation magic. Upon hearing this revelation, all the adventurers were shocked to the core, as they could not believe that a player like him could use a spell of such a high level that is only available to a few mages. A woman named Bursa, a royal knight, is overly excited when she hears Fleo's statement and tells him to move away from the little girl immediately, as she believes he is an imposter who is trying to take advantage of the little girl by tricking her. When all the women in the guild begin to suspect Fleo of being a trafficker, he demonstrates to them all that he can indeed use teleportation magic. And in a flash, Oka takes the 5 girls, including the little one, into the wilds of the forest. The young mage who followed him still regards him with suspicion and calls him a great sorcerer of the highest order who hides his abilities. The royal knight, Bolarosa, also formally apologizes to him for acting so rudely without thinking that he might have been telling the truth. Following her, all the girls also apologize to him and promise not to treat him with suspicion anymore. The little girl notices that the forest is no longer surrounded by the militium, to which Fleo tries to explain that he was the one who used the purification spell to cleanse the entire forest, but the system prevents him from revealing this information and informs him that the little girl in front of him is a demon who will definitely become hostile towards him if he provides her with an innuendo. The other girls who came with Fleo also realize that the little girl with them is a demon hiding her true appearance, so they prepare to kill her. When the little innocence reveals her true intimidating form and threatens to crush everyone into a tortilla, all the girls instantly lose their fighting spirit, but not the protagonist, as he is fully protected by his endless plot armor. So he stands up for the rest of them and teleports the girls away before he straightens out the demon. Refusing to die at the hands of the demon, he decides to do his best against the demon and summons all his spells at once to use them against the demon, not knowing that his spells are completely suppressed. The episode ends with the question of whether the entire kingdom will turn into nothing because of such a savage decision. So much for this video. Prince Oscar happens to find himself in the path of an evil witch. For some reason, the witch cursed the guy, so he couldn't have offspring. When Oscar turned 20 years old, he managed to pass the test. The prince is sure that this witch can be the woman who will overcome the curse and give him a child. Oscar and Lazarus secretly escape from the castle to the Azure Tower. They ride across the desert on horseback. Oscar's companion, Lazarus, begs him all the way back to the castle, but Oscar wants to climb the Azure Tower, and if you go back, sneaking out of the castle will be pointless. He has his reasons, and so does Lazarus. Lazarus can't leave him alone, so he's coming with us. He warns Oscar about the previous curse and tells Oscar what will happen if the witch puts another curse on him. Oscar tells him that he has no other choice, and if something like that were to happen, he would think about it later. Lazar is afraid. What if there is some danger then? According to Lazar, there might be another way. They have to get back to the castle on time. Oscar says that in these 15 years, he has not been able to find another way. In the end, having no choice, he went to the Azure Tower, where the Witch of the Azure Moon lived. According to legends, if someone climbs her tower and passes her tests, she will grant any wish of the one who climbs the tower, and in any case, if that fails, another way can be found. Eventually, they will reach their destination. Lazarus is still begging Oscar to return to the castle, but Oscar is determined that no matter what happens today, he will not return.